Hi. We're doing a corner video today. I'll try getting the next lore video out sometime soon. So this is a little update just before we start. Yeah, you guys could probably you can see that. Like, I gotta get my arm looked at because I think I tore my shoulder. So update on that. Just put that as a note. So we'll just do that. But here's what we're talking about today. I want to talk about movie plots. Specifically, movie plot ideas that I wish to direct. If I was ever given a budget, just what I would love to direct. Right? So, give me a second. Alright, so, first one. I would, honest to God, if I could get my hands on any property, like, let's say I'm directing for a big studio, want my hands on any property, I want a remake of Chopping Mall. Now, for anyone who doesn't know what that movie is, it is like, honest to God, one of my favorite peak horror movies ever. Basically, the plot is there's a bunch of robots running a mall, and the robots basically go AWire, and, you know, a bunch of kids break into the mall, and they start getting chased by a robot, and it is like, over the top, like, cheesy 80s violence at its most perfect. I would just want to remake, like, all of that. Like, just modern remake of that. If I could get my hands on any property, it would be that. Next thing I would love to do, and this is just personally opinion, I kind of want to bring back Real Steel. Like, this whole video is just movie ideas of, like, we're just going to rant about some of them, right? I would love to bring back Real Steel. For anyone who's never seen it, it's a Hugh Jackman film where he's basically shadowboxing with robots. And it is... God, it was peak 2011. And I don't know why, I just really want to see that come back. Like, fully come back. Because I imagine you can do, like, a whole plot where, like, you know, I think the main robot's name was Adam, is, okay, now he's in, like, this international tournament, and there's just, like, a bunch of, like, bots from around the world with, like, all the most wild, crazy-ass designs. But it's, like, the most hyped sport. Like, the best example I could give of, like, how to describe, like, how hyped this thing got recently, because it was kind of underground in the first movie. It was like, yeah, they had, like, some circuits for it, but it was, like, kind of underground. I would just love it where it's just, like, if anyone's ever seen Megalobox, it's on Megalobox's level of, like, yeah, no, it's just better than the actual sport entirely. Oh, that hurt. Okay. Yeah, but, anywho, that's another one. Then you have, like, you know, me and my friends' sci-fi one that we've wanted to make for years. And we call it Droids of 2045. Basically, think of it like Blade Runner in a way. Like, one of the big inspirations is Blade Runner and also Cyberpunk, like the actual tabletop RPG, not the games. But in that vein, and the whole entire plot is basically, you know, our main character, which we referred to as, like, Jason, like, Decker, is just how we had him written in the script, but I think we eventually came to the, like, name of, like, I think it's still Jason, but I think it's, like, something like Jason, like, Deshin or something. It was very specific. But the whole plot is basically, he's a detective, he's, you know, trying to solve this murder case, and it eventually ends up with him realizing, oh, I've been hunting a robot this whole time, type of thing. Like, if I remember correctly, like, when we were all concepting it and saying, like, how it should be scripted, it was, world is based off of Blade Runner / like, Cyberpunk and stuff, but it feels like Seven. If anyone's ever seen Seven, it's, like, very, like, you know, tight on objects, like making you uneasy. That's how this movie is supposed to feel. Next one, you can tell me and my friends made a lot of horror comedies and like horror movie ideas as like a lot of our bases. We called it Serial Killer. The whole joke being like he kills as like using like different types of cereals. We literally just wanted it just for the joke of him being able to kill someone with a giant, comically large spoon. Like, that literally was where the whole plot came from, and like, it was hilarious. Like, that one, if I could ever get it off the ground, would love to. Right? And basically the whole plot, it's, you know, cheesy, stupid horror movie plot. But, like, it's just, we would have wanted to just see how creative we could get with, like, each thing. So, there's that. That one was kind of worked on a lot. Then you had one which we called West of Tennessee. So, that would be a plot. We wanted it to be a romance, like a Western romance. And that's kind of what the plot still is. But the plot also has to deal with now, if anyone's ever played Hunt Showdown, that's the best way to describe how it feels now, is, no, it's still a romance story, but with supernatural elements. Look, supernatural westerns are kind of dope. And you don't get a lot of them, especially nowadays. It's like, yeah, we definitely would have wanted that, man. Let's see. What was some of the other ones? Was there... Like, I'm gonna put up the posters, like, probably here. Like, of, like, my made movies, because I have, like, 4 of them. I think it's Georgia 2045, Serial Killer, West of Tennessee. What's the 4th one? Was the 4th one our kaiju movie that we wanted to work on? Or, yeah, it was. So, I probably talked about it if you've seen some of my streams or stuff. I am a big, like, kaiju movie monster fan and Godzilla monster fan. So, for the longest time, we were thinking of, okay, we want to make our own, you know, kaiju monster movie. So, we kept thinking of, like, what should be the designs for, like, the kaiju. And eventually, we all agreed, why do we just not make it a giant stegosaurus? Then we kept thinking, well, wait, isn't Godzilla supposed to be a stegosaurus? Or something in that vein? So we're like, crap, probably don't do that. So eventually it got to the point where we're just like, you know what? Giant kaiju bear. Like, just massive bear. But like, we said like the thing with the bear would, instead of like fire breath or something, his claws would like, so like his hands and stuff would like shift out into like, you know, really razor sharp claws that have like a very like laser edge, like kind of like a like lightsaber looking edge, and he would just be a massive bear. And I think we called it like Attack of Ursus Major or something. It was very early, like barely anything on it. And honestly, we've been trying to get that one to work right for a while. That one is going to take a lot more time. Like, I got to figure out what it looks like, you know, what's its plot. Like, I don't even think I have a poster for it. That's kind of how early we are into, right before we stop making it. So, like, you know, and at this point we're kind of trying to work on it if I can get my friends together, but, you know, stuff can't happen, so. Okay, let's see. What were the other plots? Hold on, I got a book here of, like, just crazy random plots. Oh, yeah. So, we had like a fantasy one which is way separate from Tor. Like, Tor is basically meant to be like Elder Scrolls or D&D in a way. That's how that world feels. No, this fantasy one, I think we're going to try reworking it to fit into that world, because it might just be better. But, like, the overall plot would have been, like, you know, group of adventurers, they're, you know, gonna go set out, and they have to go, you know, fight like a dragon, because it's, like, you know, rampaging across the town, when they accidentally stumble upon, like, a massive dungeon. That was one. Oh, yeah, I totally forgot about that. How can I forget? If I could get my hands on another property, Star Wars. Like, I so would kill to be able to direct, like, a Knights of the Old Republic style, like, show or movie solely focused on Revan. Or I would also like one where, you know, it's not like a Jedi or anything you're focusing on, but more of, you know, a smuggler becoming a, like, stormtrooper and seeing, like, how the daily lives of they, like, would be cool. But if I could get my hands for a Jedi one, I'd honestly maybe just make it an original character who can just exist there. Similar to, like, Cal Custis or something. Like, honestly, Cal is kind of, like, how I would do that. So I'm kind of... The Star Wars one, I would have to think of a little bit more of. Trust me. If y'all want to rant, I could give you guys a whole hour of why the sequels are horrible, and I'm not going to do that. That video is not happening today. Let's see. What else could we do? What else could, like, were ones I had? Oh, there was one we had for pirates, and it was heavily based off of Assassin's Creed Black Flag, where it would be similar in that style, but it would also deal with, like, you know, it would have actual characters, like, you know, and people from history, like Anne Bonny, Blackbeard, William Kidd, and, like, you know, it would deal with them, but the whole plot of it would basically be, you know, they gotta look for, like, you know, they're hunting a specific goal, and what they really are after is some lost ancient history. Think of it like the plot was supposed to be Assassin's Creed Black Flag, but without Edward Kenway. And that is basically the plot. That is what you would have. So, like, that one really never got off its, like, legs. But I think, like, initially I called it something like... What did I call it? I think I said it was like Seven Seas, like, search for something. I don't remember its actual name, since we never really got that far with it. It was more of, like, concepting. Like, a lot of these movies are either they have scripts, or there's not a lot there but concept ideas. Like, let's see, we had... Oh, yeah, that was one. So, if anyone's been on my channel for a very long time, you would remember that me and my friend Chris had a show that we gave to Machinima. That show was The Adventures of Riot Shield Man and Shotgun Lad. The joke being is, we did it all in Call of Duty. We, you know, the whole joke was, like, nuke town, and the town basically acted as a red versus blue thing. Like, that is how it acted, and it eventually ended up with us ending up in, like, I think a weird multi-dimensional plot. And, like, it went through Machinima, we gave it to Machinima, it was supposed to be made, then they voided us from Machinima and never gave us back our rights. So, I'm really pissed about that still. I'm honestly trying to get that because I would just remake that whole thing for you guys. But that's another failed movie and like show idea for directing. And then honestly, I do have one more, which does sound really chaotically stupid, but I would honestly like it. It's so it's a superhero movie. And if I could get anyone for it, like for Marvel or DC, for Marvel, I would love it if I could get my hands on like a really good Ghost Rider. And yes, it would be Nicolas Cage. Why? Screw you, that's why. Nicolas Cage was the perfect casting for Johnny Blaze. But, you know, the whole plot would basically be his run where, you know, Ghost Rider became the King of Hell. That would be that run. As for DC, I mean, it would have to be a Batman one, but I want to be able to direct either a really good Scarecrow one, like, you know, let's, like, hypothetically, like, you know, second Matt Reeves is Batman, right? It would either be Professor Pig or Scarecrow as the lead villain. And I would so love to do that. Because that would just be really, really fun for me. But I'm trying to think, was there another plot for a movie I had? That's what it was. So, it's a vampire hunting movie, right? And now the joke of Abraham Lincoln being a vampire is very well known. So I kept thinking to myself, what would be another weird historical figure fighting vampires? And for some reason, the first thought that always kept coming to my head after Abraham Lincoln, why would I want to see, like, Julius Caesar fighting vampires? And, like, I remember the plot basically being the reason the Gaul invasion failed of Rome, like, and that they, because, like, you know, the plot was that they were going to try retaking Gaul, could not take it, all because of vampires. So, Julius Caesar decides, alright, I'm going to figure out a way to deal with them. That's what, and, like, the whole plot would have dealt with Julius Caesar hunting, basically, Dracula. And it would have ended up with him getting betrayed by the Senate again, but this time everyone in the Senate is vampires. That was an idea, and I kind of wish we did follow through with that one, because it would have been fun. But, like, I'm just making this video for, like, you know, short, like, quick little, you know, discussion on my movie ideas. Honestly, y'all can put y'all's in chat. I would, or in comments. I would love to read some of them. Because one thing I've always said, look, humanity has, like, very stupid ideas, and they're always great. I mean, Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies just right up there, right? But I would love to see some of you guys' like ideas for movies. And hey, if anyone like wants to help me get one of these off the ground, I'd be happy. But this is just a discussion for, you know, like different ideas and movies I had. Honestly, I'm just giving you guys this as an intermediate between, you know, next Dueler video, which I think is going to be pretty long. Because it's going to deal with, it's going to deal with the Lobster Claw Pirates, how they basically took over all, like, most of their area. So, like, that's going to be a very long one. And honestly, I think it might end up in like 12-20, like the 20-minute range, so I'm gonna have to, you know, work on that one a lot longer. So this is just a video to tide you guys over and give you guys, you know, some content and also an update on that for my shoulder. Because on the 30th, if I have to get surgery and stuff on it, I expect that video to be delayed by a lot. So